Action. Boom. What is going on, guys? John, tell us what you did today.
Oh, hey guys, my name's John from Collectors Company with Benny. No, so
Hey,
yeah,
well,
we had the first online regional of the 2022 season. Ended up finishing top 16. Ended up my only two losses being to Benny, who's with me today, who finished top four, and then Kevin, who also came second. Both the games were extremely close that we had. Honestly, kind of lost to both of them by one card. Especially Kevin, top decked Hatchiak from his last card, and was able to clutch it out and stop my deck. But yeah, it was a very fun day for the tournament. Been a while since I've actually like kind of sweat a little bit playing competitive. But yeah, that's kind of how my day's going, Benny.
all
So
right. Well, yeah. Why don't you go through the deck profile here with us? I know U70 is definitely one of the new decks coming out from this new set, and it's the most hyped red deck as well. So yeah, why don't you go over what the leader does and the deck does as well?
yeah, for sure, for sure. So the main thing about this deck, so the leader card I've got here is Son Goku, Supreme Warrior. Let me also just real quick. I think I've got the thing backwards.
Yeah, you got the beautiful there.
It is pretty
Honestly,
beautiful. Let me just
you
fix.
also have the world's leader that you're not playing with as well. So you know.
I do. I do. So, yeah, it's a pretty fun deck. Like the main thing about this deck is that it kind of revives red in a way. So what this leader card does, for those who don't know, the front side it says permanent. You can't send cards from your drop area to the warp. That also includes your opponent's effects sniping cards out of your drop area. Which again, pretty good. Well, not necessarily good. The fact you can't overwhelm is pretty bad, but we'll get to the gimmick of the deck. Auto once per turn when you swing, draw a card. Pretty standard on most leaders. And the other ability is active main. Once per turn, burst three. You burst three cards and draw a card, and then you choose a card from your hand and discard it. So essentially, you got to kind of think of it as these effects combined to being you draw two, you burst three, you draw two cards, and you discard one. So you're always plussing on turns that you're attacking. And the main reason why you want to get cards in your drop area is for your leader's alternate awaken condition. So your leader is an untap one and draw one, which is, again, fairly standard. But the big thing about it is that once you get 7 cards in your drop area, you can awaken at any point in the game, which again is just quite powerful. And then we'll flip over here to the Supreme Warrior, Son Goku. Love this art.
Yeah,
Um,
it's beautiful.
Same permanent, but his active main gets combined with his auto where it just straight up says draw a card, then place up to 3 cards. Against mill matchups, you can usually choose up to 0, and then also once you get 20 cards in the drop area with this deck, you tend to stop doing you stop milling. You choose the active main to draw a card, and then the other ability is active main sparking 20. You just choose any Universe 7 card within your drop area, add it back to your hand. The main reason for this is to grab back Ultra Mastery or Super Combos. Very rarely will I grab a different card from my drop area, but yeah, so the whole point of the deck, you're just able to consistently gain value, and yeah, it's a very powerful leader, and it feels that way for sure.
Honestly, I had a quick question there. Like, well, what turn do you find yourself awakening on for most
Usually,
of the day?
turn 2 to 3. Turn 2 is okay to awaken, but normally you prefer to awaken on turn 3 because the unison we play is a 3 cost unison versus a 2 cost unison. For players who are playing King Piccolo, probably a better awaken turn 2, able to keep an energy up to defend that. But most of the time, you usually awaken. I found myself awakening turn 3. I think I only awakened once today on turn 2.
Yep, that's awesome. Yeah, honestly, against the aggro decks, you might get forced to awaken a little bit earlier, but if you can hold it for as long as you can to turn 3, then having that one extra energy up protecting your unison is obviously huge.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll just go through the deck. We'll start off with the one drops here. So we run 4 Sun Gohan Ultimate Presence and then 4 Android 17. They're both just cantrips. The Gohan, look at top 5 for any U7 card with the energy cost of 4 or less, or a unison with a specified cost of 2, add it to your hand. The other auto skill is irrelevant because we're not playing skillless cards. And then the Android 17 is when you play it, you draw a card. But if you burst it from your leader when it gets milled from your deck to the drop area, you can burst another card from your deck and just play this card from your drop area for free. However, you don't get the additional draw, draw effect because you only draw a card when you play it from your hand. Overall, just like this is your turn 1 play. You either want to mulligan for like one of these. Doesn't really matter which one it is. You just want one or the other, and then you just kind of want to resolve these turn 1. If you are playing a unison with a specified cost of 2, this Gohan is way better for you, just because it also lets you search your unison.
Oh, yeah, also another thing, because it's SPR as well. Look at those beautiful foils the
I
deck
know
has
it's a very
got
pretty
here. The
card. This is
SPR playset of Gohan's
yeah.
beautiful.
Benny knows I don't normally try to foil out my decks. This is the first deck I've ever tried to foil out.
Yeah, just a quick shameless plug here. If you are interested in singles, you can check out our website, collectorscompany.com.au, for your singles needs. So yeah, hit us up.
Of course, of course. So now we'll go into the main four cards of the deck, the Universe Survival cards. We have Vegeta, Android 17, and Golden Avenger, Golden Freezer. Sorry, not Golden Avenger. It's a different card completely, you know. But yeah, we got four of these. So these cards have similar effects. We'll start off with the 17 and the Freezer. Both of them have an active main limit 1, where if you have 5 Universe 7 cards in your drop area, you get to play them from your hand for 1 energy. Limit 1, so you can't be playing two 17s. The difference between the two differences between these effects is 17 works in any Universe 7 leader, whereas the Freezer only works in this particular deck. But other than that, they both have also Sparking 7 and gain additional effect. The 17, when you have Sparking 7, you gain double strike and Freezer's dual attack, which is honestly both amazing. The Freezer also negs a card on play 15k, so you use this to clear some weenies on the board, or even neg strong battle cards and neg them with an additional effect later on. Whereas 17, every time he swings, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck and add a Universe 7 card from there to your hand, and then bottom deck the other 2. One thing to note, you don't have to reveal all 3. What I like to do, I like to look at one at a time, and once I hit the card I want to see, I will just stop looking. Because sometimes you look at all 3 and you might hit your SCR, which in this deck it isn't a U7 card, or you might hit Unison or cards you need, and you just force the bottom deck. But yeah, both of them are amazing value cards. Vegeta has a very similar effect, the same active main thing. This time it's Sparking 10, and it costs 2 energy, where if you have 10 cards in the drop area, just play it from your hand. Not leader locked, not color energy locked, you just get to play it. And then it's also got Deflect and Critical, and on top of that as well, when you play him, you get to draw a card and choose 2 of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and neg them 15k. So many times, like in testing and even today in one of the games, on my turn 2, I'll play a Vegeta, I'll awaken, play a second Vegeta. You just completely clear the board, you get to draw 2 cards, and you swing with 2 20k crit threats, and it's just yeah, it just gets the pressure on, because most of the time, like 20s are very, in the start of the game, is a very awkward number, especially if your opponent's sitting at high life and not awakened, which a lot of the time they're not when you approach them with this card. And the utility to be able to clear 2 cards ignoring barrier, like specifically for yellow, being able to clear 15, and there's a bunch of like, even against the Trunks. I had a game in testing where I dropped Vegeta turn 2, and I targeted both the Trunks and Vegeta, the 1-drops with barrier, and it just feels disgusting when you do it like that. But these are the 4 cards that you're mainly playing this deck for, because they're all super cheap and super energy efficient.
Yeah, definitely. Like 1-drop cantrips that do a lot of things for like the Freezer and the Android 17. Honestly, honestly, we've come pretty far right now. I remember back then in the days, if your 1-drop drew you a card, that's considered really good already.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing about this Freezer too, I did versus a Hachiak today. The fact that Freezer does have dual attack, being able to swing twice into Hachiak feels really nice. Allows you to pressure them a lot more early on.
The deck can go more aggressive as well, because you have a dual attacker and also a double striker, so you can actually pressure your opponent's life quite quickly if you really wanted to set you up for like the big kill with Ultra Mastery.
Yeah, exactly. I think the big thing about this deck is its pure flexibility. So it's like all those cards have different effects. They all cost about the same amount of energy, and you can actually do like just so much utility stuff with them. So I think it's just amazing. Real quickly, going into just my super combo and just a personal use of a tech choice. You just have the Sparking Freezer. This is live turn 2 most of the time. Your leader turn 1 without your opponent doing anything puts 4 cards in the drop, burst 3, draw and pitch 1. So this Sparking super combo is always live, and it's a U7 super combo, so you can use your leader to grab it back from the drop area. This Kayaken Goku, I know a lot of lists aren't running it at 3. I quite like it at 3. The utility it offers you, just pay 2, clear a big card, ignoring barrier. I've had games where in the mirror match, my opponent would play Broly SS4. I'd play use the Goku active main, as well as play a Vegeta and able to clear it in that way. But also occasionally the order to clear the board comes up. I think it's like, I know a lot of lists aren't running this card, but I personally quite like it. And as well, I've had some situations where I have wanted to awaken quite early to pressure some decks, where I just pay the 2 with the Goku, clear a battle card that I have on board, then place it in my drop area, and then that counts adds to the U7 total. So I personally like this, even though it's not for everyone.
That's good to know. Yeah, honestly, being able to clear the Broly SCR in the mirror match is huge, just with the combination of the Kaioken and the Vegeta that we talked about before. Honestly, like I watched John when he did it. It was honestly amazing.
It was really good to do. Next, we're going to show my counterplay / unison lineup here. So I've got 4 of the Son Goku Sign of Mastery, 4 of Videl Encountering Danger, and then 4 of the Jiren Unison. I have to give a shout out to a credit due. Peter Powell from Sydney told me about how broken the Jiren is, and then I started testing. I was like, yeah, he's kind of not wrong. It's kind of broken. So I switched over from playing Jiren Yamcha, and I'll explain why it's broken. But we'll go over what all the cards do first. First thing, the Son Goku Ultra Mastery again has the kind of similar effect to the Freezer and the 17, where it's a 1 cost once you have a certain amount of cards in the drop area. This one mainly being Sparking 7, so it actually doesn't matter what cards are in your drop area. as long as you have 7, which is actually really nice, being able to play this for 1 regardless of what's in your drop area. Because very rare, there is sometimes where you'll end up turn 2 with 4 U7 cards in the drop area, and then your Freezer and your Android aren't live, but you can still just play this to kill something, because it's auto on play, and keep in mind, it's a 1-drop on both players' turns. You don't have to play it with the counterplay skill. You just choose one of your opponent's cards, negate 15,000 power, and then if the battle card dies, you get to draw a card. Super amazing for a 1-drop, right? And the fact that it has counterplay as well, really good. Next, we have this Videl here. Videl is the essentially same card as Yamcha. The big difference being is that you can only activate it as its counterplay skill for free if your unison has a specified cost of 3. Again, you can't activate counter skills for the rest of the turn, but the order also functions a bit differently. The Yamcha effect is all in the counterplay skill, whereas Videl here is actually an auto skill. So let's just say now your opponent plays this Goku, just whatever, then you respond with Videl, yeah? Just playing it without skills. Normally, Yamcha wouldn't be able to hit this card, but Videl can, so that's one benefit to Videl, even if it is a Spirit Boost effect. And it also negs 20, which lets you hit higher value cards. Next, we have Jiren. So this is the main reason why we're Awakening turn 3, because we can flip up Awaken, have 1 energy up without Jiren. Jiren's a 20k base. He's got active main +1, gain double strike for the turn. Amazing for clearing unisons. Active battle -3, negs something 25k, ignoring barrier. Amazing defense, makes it so it's really hard for your opponent to push through with battle cards. And then his auto, which is the big thing with how the deck interacts with each other, it negs a battle card on play 10,000 power. So the reason why this is so good in this deck in particular, let's just say now you're versing a black deck or Gogeta Zeno, right? You have Jiren on board. They play their Gogeta Zeno. You then respond with this Goku, and then you say, all right, auto for Jiren, negate 10. Auto with Goku, negate 15. Draw a card, because you combined total 25. And same with Videl, you're able to snipe cards out of 30k power. Your opponent rivals a Kefla, 10-20. Now, that's not even the best part about it. So, some people might not actually know this, but when you play a battle card with a skill, there's actually 2 counterplay windows. The first window is when you declare you're playing a card with a skill, and the second counterplay window is when you're actually playing the battle card. So, let's just say now, hypothetically, or let's just say now your opponent plays their SER, right, and you have Jiren out. Let's say now they've played their Pan. Let's say now they've played the Supreme Kai. Alrighty, cool. Counterplay window 1, I'll pay my 1 energy to play my Goku. Counterplay window 2, alrighty, you're actually playing the card now, I'm playing my Videl. Then, because of how this game works, all these autos go independent, and you resolve the auto of it. I use my Jiren auto. I'm going to negate 10,000 power. I use my Videl auto, Spirit Boost 1 for my Jiren. I neg you another 20,000 power. Alrighty, cool. My Goku auto resolves, neg another 15k. Yeah, I kill your card, draw a card. So just from simply having this Jiren on board and 1 energy up, you can pretty much clear any battle card in the game that doesn't have barrier. That's completely absurd. So many matchups can you just turn the tide like completely. No pun for turning the tide, but it's just such an easy way to clear any battle card in the game, and it's such an amazing defensive tool. Like once you are sitting on Jiren, it just feels insane. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, why don't you just do this to Yamcha? Correct, you can do a very similar thing with Yamcha, but the difference between Yamcha is, again, Yamcha can only realistically hit cards with skills, and the big thing about it as well, Yamcha does not hit cards that have deflect. So there's so many cards. A perfect example here is Ultra Mastery, right? If you're playing Yamcha, you will not be able to clear Ultra Mastery. However, Videl can, because it's an auto skill. That's the big thing about it. Honestly, after testing a bit, it's kind of personal preference whether you prefer this or Jiren. Right now, I'm quite liking this, but I can definitely see in a different meta where like there's easier ways we get new cards, or there's like someone found a more optimal combo that you go to the Piccolo Unison. The big trade-off is that the Piccolo Unison will allow you to see more cards, but this utility seems just ridiculously strong.
Yeah, honestly, the Jiren's really good as well, right? Because it actually hits unisons as well. I think I only just found out that like not long ago. I did not know it hits unisons for the -10. So like if your opponent's playing like a Trunks, it's also Yume, so it's not the first battle card that they play, right?
Yeah,
Pretty
correct.
sure.
Again, so there's
one,
yeah.
So you can choose.
Yeah, so with
honestly,
it,
and yeah. Yeah, you go for it, yeah.
Yeah, so with the Jiren as well, the auto is like you don't have to use it on the first card they play. Yeah. So you can just be like, oh, nah, it's fine, you play something else. Like I had a game today where I was versing Golden Freezer. They played their they played a 1-drop, right? Just to, establish a board. And then they tapped out to play their Lord Slug. What I ended up doing is that because I kind of baited them in not using the Jiren skill, they would have just played another 1-drop, right? But then they tapped out and I counterplayed with Videl, and it's like, all right, cool. The opportunity only came up because this isn't like really a mandatory effect on the first card they play.
Awesome. Oh, yeah, also the Videl has Spirit Boost 1 as well, so it'll cost you a marker, so...
It's not too big of a deal. It's a bit hard to clear markers from Jiren, so... Yeah.
Yeah, very hard. After you play against the deck has so much defensive tools. Alright, now we go on to the boss monster of the deck.
Alright, so a lot of people are running the Vegeta SCR. I'm running Broly. I'll quickly go into detail why, but I'll tell you what Ultra Mastery does. This card is absurd. The main way you play it, even though it's just an 8 drop, if you have 10 U7 cards in your drop area, you can pay 4 red energy and play them. Fairly easy to do, but the real kicker is the sparking 20, yeah? So every time, the first time he attacks per turn, if you have 20 cards in your drop area, you get to look at your opponent's hand and choose any card that costs 7 energy or less and discard it. Any card. This hits like pretty much every card in the game outside of SCRs, right? And a couple of boss monsters, funnily enough, Ultra Mastery included, right? And the fact that also the active main clears the entire board, like negs everything 35k is absurd. You play this, you swing twice, you rip a card out of the hand, they're probably forced to negate. But so many times today, like, no disrespect to like anyone else playing today, but I felt like the games were just kind of free. It felt like they just couldn't do anything when I played this card, right? Play this, you tapped out, I swing, I see your hand, like, oh, I literally know the exact amount of combo power you have in your hand. I just win this turn. I just outmath you. So it is what it is, as they say. But yeah, some lists are also running this as a 3 of. I quite like it as a 4. We are a 60 card deck. The big thing about running in the 4, if you burst one early, you can grab it back later, and also you don't care if you charge one at the start of the game, because realistically you can't. If you run 3, sometimes it's a little bit awkward. You might not burst one yet, might be stuck in your life. 1 in your energy, 2 in your energy, and it's like, oh, okay, well, it's a bit awkward now. And now
fair enough.
Now for the
honestly, these cards produce so much value. Yeah, like it's kind of crazy. Like we were talking about this sparking 20. It's a little bit reminiscent of Kaioken, Defender of the Earth, the red green one that we were talking about, ripping a card from your opponent's hand. Yeah, Bandai really likes doing these Goku cards that have
sparking 20.
Insanely powerful effect. Insanely powerful.
Yeah, but honestly, it's quite a silly card. It's like the main reason why you play this deck, honestly, compared to like maybe running a U7 Gohan or whatever. And now for the main difference I have between a lot of players, the debate is always between Broly SS4 or Vegeta. A lot of people see Vegeta as like, oh, you can play Vegeta instead of Goku, right? Well, it's really good, you get to swim with Vegeta, clear the board, etc., etc. The reason why I don't really like Vegeta in testing is that the first thing is that if you have it in the drop area, right? Like a lot of people say you can't grab Broly back from the drop area. Well, realistically, you're using your leader skill to add back an Ultra Mastery or a Super Combo, right? So chances are you're not grabbing back your Vegeta. So you're only going to really grab it back if it's like, oh, you've already got like a couple Ultra Masteries in hand. Fair enough, whatever. The other thing I don't really like about it as well, Vegeta's cleared fairly easily, right? Let's just say now you're versus Blue. You literally have to play the Vegeta and just get rid of it straight away, because if they're sitting on Boo Unison, it just gets cleared. If you're versing Yellow Sin, they have the 9 drop, it negates the skills. Goku clears the board when it gets played.
Yeah, also Final Flash as well, like negating its steal, so you can't do the activate main. There's a lot of tricky things that like.
Yeah, that you can. There's a lot of easy ways to play around with the Vegeta. So what's so different about Broly? Well, I guess an argument could be you have to go Ultra Mastery into Broly, but you got to keep in mind on your one turn, if you're clearing the board with this, swinging twice, knowing their hand, they somehow live, you upgrade into Broly, you get another swing. You simply can't do that. You apply way more pressure, and the Broly on top of that too. So for those who don't know what the Broly does, it's got ultimate barrier and double strike 40k like everyone else, every other SCR. Active main, choose one red Saiyan card with original power energy, original power of 35, Ultra Mastery, and place in the drop area. Then you get to play the Broly. And the Broly pumps your leader 10,000 power until the end of your opponent's turn. Already really nice. That's just okay. What else? The permanent skill. As long as Broly is on board, your opponent's combo cards, battle cards, and leader cards lose 5,000 power. As long as he's on board during both players' turn. That's just permanent, right? That means, like, after you've ripped the hand of full information and you go into Broly, you literally don't even need a combo. If they don't have the negates up, you just win the game outright, right? There's so many times in testing where you go, if you have this, like, you'll just probably win the game, because then it's just like the opponent literally can't do anything about this. Whereas yeah, okay, I get it, you can God Sealing it, whatever, but I think just the potential to outright blow out a game between these two cards is just way more value. And on top of that as well, the Broly, let's just say now you don't even win the game, right? And yeah, your opponent can clear the board, clear the Broly next turn between whatever cards they have, yeah? The Broly still pumps your leader 10,000 power, so it also kind of buys you a turn an extent, because A, they have to deal with your Broly, and B, they have to, actually push through 25k base. So chances are, once Broly's on board, you're most likely, if it buys you so much time, and you most likely win the game. Granted, not every time you don't win the game when you play Broly, but I personally quite like it a lot more than Vegeta, just for that main reason. Again, the main arguments being this isn't a U7 card. Yes, it feels nice having Vegeta in the drop area, but chances are you're not grabbing it back with your leader skill. You're grabbing back Ultra Mastery.
Real question here: how many times did you burst your secret rare today, and you actually felt sad?
I bursted it once today, and it didn't feel sad.
Oh, pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good then. Only once, you know,
I
out of the
will
games that we played.
if I keep brawling my opening. If I see brawling my mulligan, I just hold on to it because you don't want to risk
Yep.
it. Same with like my other two SCR cards, I guess. I usually keep those as
Yep.
well.
100%.
But
Yep.
yeah. So that's mainly it for the U7 cards. We'll go for some more tech choices here. So we've got 3 Broly. I'll show you all these ones at once because the deck's pretty much all done. It's mainly just U7 deck. 2 Koitsukai, 3 Broly Crown, and King Piccolo and Champa. I think most of these cards are self-explanatory. You lead a burst cards from your deck, and it puts Koits straight into the drop area for you. No brainer. Broly Crown. So many times I'll just play this, look at my opponent's hand, even like whenever they just leave 2 energy up, just play this for 1 energy, rip a card out of their hand, get the information. It's more about that information gain. Always a really good card in red. King Piccolo, New Ruler, no surprise there. Free 20k double strike that can't be blocked, really good. And Champa, Champa kind of felt whatever today. I didn't use it once, but then again, that's like the argument being like, did I mill it, whatever, etc., etc. Champa will steal you games, but it's just okay. I think there's a world where you can actually cut Champa, but I think New Ruler is too powerful for a free card.
Yeah, 100%. And also another thing that I remember you saying about Broly Crown as well. Like, you know, if you have a turn 5 play, you can like the main thing you want to do is Broly Crown to rip out the God Ceiling so they don't use it on your secret rare. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I think there's a lot of
Yeah.
cute interactions you can do with the Broly Crown
Yep.
because usually your opponent leave a couple energy up to deal with Ultra Mastery. A lot of players who begin playing this deck will just windmill amount Ultra Mastery and 4, but you don't need to do that. If they leave 2 energy up, you hit them with Broly, the Broly Crown, and then you just take it from there. Whatever else you'd like to do, right? The deck's so flexible, so you don't have to do the generic like things you do every turn. But yeah, to wrap up the deck here, we've got 2 Violent Rays, 3 Testing the Opposition, and then 4 After Image, so I guess our main core of negates from the deck. Same reason why we run the Freezer Super Combo. We have Sparking 5 live from turn 1 pretty much, or turn 2. So this card always, like, you know, able to defend you from high life total. And on top of that too, because we do Awaken at like high life, you don't really care about using After Image is always a free card. You're never paying energy for After Image. You always just take a life. Same vein as Testing the Opposition, you know, let's just say perfect hypothetical world, you know, we've taken no damage from our opponent, 4 life from After Image, 3 life from Testing the Opposition, you know, and that leaves us on 1 life, so we don't lose, you know. That's the theory behind these cards, yeah. Sometimes Testing the Opposition actually feels bad because a lot of the time you're just sitting at higher than 6 life. Like all the games I won today, besides against Benny and Kevin, I didn't go below 6 life, so Testing the Opposition was never live. But in testing, good card. And then finally, Violent Rays. There's so many cards that swing that are higher than 30k, 20k, and same with Unisons too. So this is the good overall negate.
Yeah, this card's huge against Gogeta Zeno, especially like when I play Gogeta Zeno, I definitely hope my opponent does not have Violent Rays because all your big boys cannot swing.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it, guys. We're gonna have a bunch of other deck profiles coming out soon as well. We've got Kevin's deck profile coming. We'll do Benny's deck profile as well. So yeah, stay subscribed to the channel. Of course, people who know, will be continuing to play this deck. It's the most fun I've had in a deck in a long time. So yeah, stay tuned to see if I make any more changes in that. I think realistically, going forward, pretty much every U7 list will have like the same 30 cards being the main U7 engine, and then the other 30 are like potentially tech choices. So yeah. But thanks, guys, and yeah,
Yeah, 100%. So honestly, once again, congratulations on your top here for the, you know, what a great way to start the season, you know, topping your first regional. So, you know, hopefully expecting more to come. We will be going to Fest as well. So, you know,
we will be going
hopefully
to
we
Card
do
Fest,
well there. Yeah, hopefully we'll do well there and provide you guys more deck profiles.
yeah.
Cheers.
Easy, guys. See yous.